All right, Ravi. Thanks again for wrapping up our call. You just finished the DadBod program. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
You worked with me for about what, 3 months? Is that
3
right?
months.
Months.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about where you started, where you ended up. Weight wise.
Sorry, weight-wise.
Yeah, weight.
Yeah, so when we started the program, this was, I think, right in the beginning of the new year or right after the New Year's, I think. I was around 212 pounds. When we started the program, as on date, I'm at 196. So that's like 16 pounds down for 3 months.
Okay, good. Can you tell me a little bit about like how this program helped you with flexibility? Like what 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 was your lifestyle like going through this program?
Oh, before I want to put it in a way where it is like before and after. So before the program, I've been part of many diet programs and then followed like a lot of apps and stuff like that. But one thing that I missed was that the constant touch with one of the coaches or the regular meetups. In case if I'm stuck somewhere or somebody need to just give me that extra push, that was always lacking. So I always end up losing like 5, 6 pounds initially, and then kind of lose that motivation or get busy with work and other stuff, right? And kind of go away from the goal and then sort of take my mind off it. And then I didn't ever realize until I started this program that it's more so to do with the lifestyle changes and the choices we make. It's not just losing a couple of pounds or just going on a diet for a couple of weeks. It's more so making that shift in terms of making healthy choices. That's what I learned from this. And then obviously in the 3 months that we were associated, I kind of made that into my habit or my daily ritual to kind of have my protein intake, my cardio exercise done and stuff like that. So it kind of became a habit to me. That's one thing I noticed that's different.
That's awesome to hear, man. So tell me, going through the program throughout the 3 months, like how was your day to day? Was it that drastic, or did you feel like it kind of like, balanced its way into your life?
No, it takes some time to get used to, but initially, I think the way the program has been laid out, first couple of weeks, we were just kind of focusing on the nutrition plan and then not getting into the cardio so that you don't feel like, oh, you're exhausted at the end of the day. Because taking on the diet plan, changing that or making that change to the diet program and also getting into the cardio training, that might sometimes people who are at least like me might feel a little overexhausted and then they might lose that motivation or feel that, oh, this is too much for me, right? But the way the program is laid out, I think the first couple of weeks, we were just focusing on changing the diet and then focusing on what should be our nutrition plan like, what's the caloric intake, what's good for my day to day, what's easily accessible. And being a vegetarian, that's another limitation that we had to kind of work through our plan to see we get the right protein intake. So the first couple of weeks was kind of getting that proper mindset and having that diet plan sorted out. And then from there on, I think we started on adding a little extra into making sure I go to the gym at least 4 times in a week and do my 40 minutes or 45 minutes of cardio.
Okay, awesome, man. Yeah, and it was by design, right? We
Yeah.
purposely held you back about 2 to 3 weeks. If you purposely didn't have you train, I just really wanted you to get into a good routine with your
Yeah.
nutrition, your hydration, and your micronutrient supplements and get you going, and then we'll ease into the training. So you
Yep.
met 16 pounds, and I really, throughout the 3 months, I kept telling you, I wanted to keep teaching you how the body reacts to certain foods you eat and things like that. So it was done in a very healthy way, like a crash diet. And again, you mentioned this, and I'll reiterate: is it's a lifestyle change. So now that the program is concluded, can you tell me a little bit about the things you learn and how you're gonna live your life now versus before you and I kind of started working together?
So yeah, the two major takeaways from this 3 months program that I've been part of is the first thing is to focus on not just the way like the cardio and then going to the gym or doing the exercise, not focusing on that, but also change what goes inside our body in terms of what we take as part of our nutrition. I was never counting on that. I was never tracking what I was doing because I was part of intermittent fasting and stuff like that. But I never, once that period is done or once the program is done, I always go back to my old habits of eating more carbs and then getting into these unhealthy habits. But that's one thing I started off making sure that every time I start things happen and then we kind of deviate from plans. And then because obviously everyone has their own everyday schedules and then they get into parties and they get meet to people. That's the second takeaway where I think that not just following a plan is important, but also sometimes plans do change and then sometimes we get off track, but it's important to get back on track more than so if it's a day or 2 days. But it's very important to get back on track and then continue to get back on the program. And the follow the same schedule that we kind of laid out as part of this program. So that also noticed, I also noticed that the way once we get back on track, the metabolism kicks in high, and then we lose the extra pound or a pound and a half that we gain in that 2 days much faster. That was like an eye opener for me.
Yeah, it's awesome that you share that because you were afraid to really have a cheat meal.
Yeah.
You were like, "Oh, I've already progressed. I've lost all this weight, and if I
Yes.
I'm gonna regain it back." But I was trying to educate you on how the body responds to eating a cheat meal, and then what you do post that will help you kind of leverage the increase of the metabolism post that cheat meal. So I'm glad that you
Yeah, that
mentioned.
coaching was like really an eye opener. And then we kind of not just talked through it, but also executed that. And then you told me to just go ahead and then eat whatever my cheat meal was for that weekend. And then we came back and we kind of tracked the weight and then the progress for 2 weeks. And it clearly showed me practically that even if I go off plan for a day or two, I can always come back. I think that's a key point for me.
That was the main thing, and I'm very happy to hear that. So Robbie, let me ask you, how was your experience working with me, man?
Oh, it's awesome. It's just awesome. Yeah, I know you're a busy man, but I think our weekly touch points that we have that really help me also keep me focused and then also get me like, oh, if I skip my like one day during after I work, come back from work on Wednesday or Thursday, if I feel like, oh, I'm exhausted, I think probably I might skip my gym. But then I said, oh, Friday I have my coaching point and the coach is going to ask me, okay, how many pounds did we lose this week? So always get me moving forward. But then I also kind of became a habit of making sure that I hit the gym at least 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah, it's
So
awesome.
it's been a phenomenal
What was the
experience.
other question that I consistently ask you every week?
Oh, the water
How do
intake.
you drinking per day? It's so critical,
Yes,
man. So I'll wrap up with this, right? First, I'll say again, I've been telling you, it was a pleasure working with you and helping you out, and I'm very glad.
likewise.
There's a lot of out there, a lot of coaches out there offering different programs, services, fitness coaches, etc., personal trainers, and I believe that there's a lot of folks out there that lack a lot of trust. Maybe they've had bad experiences or whatever the case may be with coaches. Can you talk a little bit about like what you would tell someone who's considering improving their health, getting in shape, losing weight, but there's some hesitancy there on,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the right program. I don't know if this is the right coach. It sounds too good to be true. Maybe like the cost might be a factor. Can you talk a little bit about like, encouraging someone to really go for it and maybe specifically working with me and HYT and how that can really change their lives?
Oh, yeah, and absolutely. I think the more not more so on the cost perspective, but in general, the hesitation comes from people trying to match the expectations of the coaches. And that's where the problem is because that if you're being coached by another, like a mentor or who's a fitness trainer, they have certain high expectations. And then they're right from day one, they expect you to kind of burn 2000 calories and then do all this crazy diet programs and then kind of do crazy workouts. But obviously, it becomes very hard to match the expectations. But one thing that I noticed that as part of the HYT program is we keep the expectations really you actually kind of work through individually. And I think it's more customized plan depending on each person's, because that's something I think you kind of observed and then through a dialogue and then having that conversation with the person, you kind of understand what my daily routine is, where I'm right now and what are my constraints, and then kind of work the plan, customize the plan, and then build that plan. Not many programs do that customization. They just say that, hey, this is what we have, just follow this, and then you lose 20 pounds or 30 pounds in a month. But that's not realistic. Everyone's lifestyle is a little different, especially for the middle-aged so-called dads or the DadBod program that we're part of. I think that's where most of the time the challenge would be either we don't have time or sometimes we get easily exhausted and then not kind of lose the motivation. So that's the key point that I noticed that you kind of work to each individual participant or student so-called and then kind of customize a plan that suits their lifestyle and then slowly ease them out of bad habits and then kind of get them back on track.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that genuine insight from your perspective. And one other thing to
Absolutely.
note is we worked 100% virtually. I mean, you're in Canada
Yeah,
and and
that's
even
it.
in different countries, we still make this work very effectively and very efficient both ends. So it's just something very important to highlight as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's all virtual. And then thanks to technology and then thanks to our weekly touch points, we never felt like we're too far.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Ravi, congratulations, man, on completing the program. I appreciate the insight, appreciate the kind words, and I'm so happy that I was able to help you. And best of luck to you as you move forward.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks for being part of this journey, and then really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome.